So, a very good afternoon to all the students present for this session, and welcome to the second phase of our journey in the advanced strategic management. So, my dear students, like in the first phase, in the first module, we had understood, we had a discussion regarding the basic aspects of corporate management, where we have understood the corporate policies in detail. Now, coming to the second aspect of this journey, where we are talking of the growth of the organizations and the strategic aspects related to the growth of the organizations. Right. Friends, as if we have already discussed that the present era is highly challenging for the organizations in a sense that we define the present era to be a VUCA era where all these organizations they are characterized or the business at the present time they are characterized as volatility, they are characterized as uncertainty or maybe a very complex process that we are witnessing, and there are enormous ambiguity. So, if the organizations would like to survive in this phase of uncertainties, organizations must develop some of their competitive advantages over their competitors, which will make these organizations to sustain. No, sustainability is a question mark on the organizations because of all of these uncertainties. So, what these organizations need to do to sustain is the basic challenge for the organizations, and there where we come out with the basic growth strategies that these organizations need to adopt, not only to survive but to have that competitive advantage, win over that competition and survive on a longer run. So sustainability is what that should be the basic objective of organizations at the present time. So continuing with that, let us understand like what are the basic concepts of this strategies before going for this growth strategies. Let us understand what is the strategy. Now, each and every organization they do have a basic goal of reaching to a state of existence, what we call it as a visionary state of existence. Now, having that in the back of mind, I must find out some of the ways to reach to that visionary state of existence. That is the ultimate state where I'd like to land up. So here we need to come out with the basic process which enables us to define the path of our journey towards the visionary state of existence is what we call it as a strategy. So, strategy is nothing but focusing on two things. One, we do talk of the end, which is the end goal of the organization, reaching to that visionary state of existences. And the second aspect of this is how we are going to accomplish that. What is the mean of accomplishing the said goal of the organization? So taking these two things together, we do define the strategies of the organizations, and as if you can see that it says that it is all about allocating these resources, whatever is available, right? Deploying these resources for the accomplishment of the organization's goals. So that is what we do say that it's the means of accomplishment. So here we do come out with a basic difference, like we do come out with some differences like between strategies and tactics. And whenever we do we do talk of these tactics, we say that it is the way of employing these resources, allocating these resources and utilizing the resources may have differences among themselves. So whenever we do talk of this achieving the end goals of the organizations, we have to take both these strategies and the tactics, where we identify the basic goals of the organization at one point of time, and at the other point of time we do say that the ways by which, or the ways in which we can really employ these resources for accomplishment of the goals itself. But sometimes we do say that these organizations are, comprising of different verticals, different departments, subunits, and if I do talk of all of these departments itself, so it may so happen that all these departments do have their own goals. All these departments do have their own like ends and means to achieve that. But what is challenging for us is, do we need to integrate all of those things together? Yes. Unless and until we do integrate the departmental goals together in line with, in tune with the overall goals of the organization, organizations may not be able to accomplish the said goals. That is where we need to understand the different sort of, strategies being taken by the organizations at different levels of the organizations. Here we're going to come out with three basic strategies. So the first level of strategy is a wider strategy, is a long-term strategy, is a broad strategy, what we call it as a corporate strategy. We'll discuss all of this in detail, but just to have an understanding, have an insight, right? So these corporate strategies are long-term strategies, broad strategies, generic strategies, right? So if I do talk of these corporate strategies, I may come out with some basic questions like, why do I exist? Why do the organizations exist? What is the core business that the organization is in? So corporate strategy is dealing with the basic aspects of existence of an organization, the basic business in which the organization is involved. So a very wider connotation of the goals or defining the business itself is what is being dealt in corporate level of strategies. But when I move down to competitive level of strategies in the organizations, so this competitive level of strategies do focus on the ways by which we can have that competitive advantage over our competitors. That is what, right? Many times we do have a deliberation on that. Darwin's principle, survival of the fittest. Either you compete with others, win over that competition, survive, or you don't have a place in the market. So that is what we need to do so that we can have that competitive advantage over other organizations, over my competitors, right? That is what. And you need to understand over here that these competitive strategies are to be specific in nature, highly specific in nature. It should be specific to the kind of industry that the organization belong to. It should be specific to the kind of business that the organization do belong to, or it should be specific to a particular sort of labor market trend or economic trend, whatever it may be. So considering all of those things in specific, we need to develop some strategies which we call it as a competitive strategy. But beyond that, we need to go down to each and every functional vertical of the organization, each and every department, functional departments of the organizations, where we do say that these functional departments of the organization do have highly specific goals, short-term goals. So whenever we do talk of these short-term goals, right? So there we need to come out with some of the goal-directed actions, highly specific. So whenever I do talk of these three different level of strategies, may it be corporate level or competitive or functional level of strategies, the coordination among all of these things are essential. So alignment of all of these are essential. So that is how we need to take this corporate strategy starting from the functional strategy itself. Let us have a detailed understanding of this corporate level of strategies itself. Now, if I do talk of this corporate level of strategies, we say that definitely this corporate strategies are the blueprints for the growth of the organization. As we understand that the growth is the only option for survival. So this corporate strategies gives that framework because they deal with the allocation of resources to reach to the end goal itself. Right? So this is what that gives a basic framework of the operations itself. But if we go deeper insight into this corporate level of strategies, corporate strategy, we say that anything that I need to do to have that competitive advantage, like selection of resources, allocation of resources, utilization of resources, so as to say that it's overall the management of the available resources that may lead the organizations in a particular industrial segment or in a particular product segment. Right? So here, whenever we do talk of this corporate level of strategies, actually, we need to ask ourselves few such questions like what is the nature of operations that we are in, what value we generate. It's not only for the organization itself, because nowadays we say now it's an open dynamic kind of system if we do consider this systems theory on organizations, right? So if we do talk of that, then what value we generate for our society, what value we generate for our next generations. So all of these things are to be taken into consideration. That is what that will give us the core purpose of our existence. Beyond that, what sort of value I am generating for my stakeholders, whoever are associated with me, what value I am giving back to the society, my stakeholders itself. You need to talk of that. If is required, such as if there will be a question on my survival, if I need to revive my business, so what would be the transformation that I would like to have? Maybe the kind of existing business to a new set of business. So what sort of business I'd like to diversify myself. That's what we need to understand. What will be, the kind of future of my organization? Like, say, for example, each and every organization passes through their phase of, embryonic stage, growth phase, maturity, declining phase, all of those things. So, if I do come out with a basic question of survival, right? So, what kind of things I need to, or what kind of decisions I need to take into action in future? Like, whether I'll continue with the same way as if I'm continuing at the present time, steady kind of movement, or to expand my market, or I need to go for a diversification, or I need to seize my investments, retrench my business. What sort of things I need to take into consideration? That is what that is one more aspect of this corporate level of strategies, right? And we need to think of structuring the entire systems, processes aligned, tuned in the direction of the overall goals of the organization. That is what we need to think of. Yeah. So the question is, what kind of value I add to the organization as a whole is what that will give me the basic direction of this corporate strategy. So here we will come out with three such broad categories of this corporate strategies, where we do say that growth or directional strategies there, portfolio related strategies there, corporate parenting strategies there. Right? These are the four generic, corporate level of strategies that we are talking of, right? So whenever we do talk of the first level of such strategy, growth, sometimes when this survival is a question mark for the organizations, Stability is a question mark on the organizations, right? We will see all of these in detail, right? So survival is a question mark on the organization, or stability is a question mark on the organization. Then these organizations must adopt this growth or directional strategy, because this is what, you know, that will give the organization the basic aspects of growth. They can go for higher productivity, they can go for higher profitability. All of those things are, answered in this growth or directional level of strategy. Maybe now, sometimes we say that these growth strategies can be, achieved internally by developing the leadership or potentials of leaders in the organization itself. So answering all those things, basically you can say that it's a question mark on the growth, stability. So organizations need to go for a rapid growth strategy itself. Sometimes, if the organizations would like to have this growth by bringing a change in their portfolio, may it be product portfolio, may it be the market portfolio, whatever it may be. Right? If I had to talk of this, product related, what we need to understand is that there has to be an alignment in all the portfolios of the organization, right? So, may it be product related portfolios where we do talk of kind of diversification, where we do say it's a, concentric diversification, conglomerate diversification. So organizations may, go for, adding new products for the existing market, or for adding new features for the existing market, may go for new products for the new market, or existing product for the new market. So different sort of strategies are there, by which what we call it as diversification strategies, right? So by which organizations can really foster their journey of growth, expanding in their product segment itself. The second category we can think of is a real expansion, where the organizations bring a change in their, market niche, where we say that organizations would like to expand from domestic territory to the international market itself. So whenever we talk of this domestic level of, expansion, so may it be entering into a new, product segment, may it be entering into a new market segment or a new geographical area. All of those things are taken into consideration, right? But whenever I'm going for internationalization of my process, so going beyond domestic level of, processes to international processes, I have to go for a complete different sort of strategy. That is what we come out with a portfolio level of strategy itself, no? Right? And we do talk of this corporate parenting strategies itself. Corporate parenting strategies focuses on the proper utilization of resources. Utilization of resources, in a sense, we say that, say, kind of management that I need to have for my infrastructure, for my IT enablers, for my procurements, for my distribution channel, for my customers, whatever it may be, whatever it may be. So I need to understand the different phases of carrying out that particular business. Like in the previous point, we have understood that if we are going for domestic level of expansion, then I need to think of this parenting strategy in a different way. But if I'm going for internationalization process, I need to think of this parenting strategy all in a different way. So what sort of objective I do have, based on that only, we need to adopt a particular level of strategy. Okay. So here, the basic question that this corporate level of strategists do answer is these questions like, should we expand our business? Of course, growth is essential. It is accepted, universal accepted, right? We understand that each and every organization passes through the phase of maturity and decline. Question is, can I have a second cycle after the maturity phase, or can I maintain that maturity? Can I have a growth for a longer period of time in the organization if I don't want to decline? This is where we need to think of having these, questions being asked. Should we expand, diversify our business, domestic level, international level, existing product segment to new product segment? What we are going to do? Do we would like to cut back? Do I want to retrench my business? If I do not have proper profit out of that, do I need to go for a turnaround or retrench the complete business, close down the complete business, start a completely new, different venture altogether? What I need to do? Continuing without having much changes, as if it's going on, right? Let's do that. That is what we do. Other questions that the corporate strategies to answer is that whether we'll have this business, whatever we do have, in the current industry, continuing with the same industry, or we would like to diversify ourselves to other industries also. It's possible, right? Similarly, whenever it comes to the expansion level of questions, do I need to expand my business at domestic level, or I need to expand my business at the international level? If I need to think of domestic level of expansion, it's okay. But if I do think of international expansion, going beyond my domestic territory to be a global organization, what I need to do is to understand how it can be done through two ways. Internally it can be done, or from external sources it can be done. Internal sources, I can develop my own resources, right? And I can think of like having an independent unit of my own in the host country itself, the country where I'm going to start my business, right? Or I can do it through external sources, like I can acquire some of the organizations in the host country, or I can go for a strategic alliance kind of thing, joint venture kind of thing. I can merge with other companies to start my business over there. Right? So these are the alternatives, whatever available, to us to deal with all of these questions. Right? So broad objectives of the corporates can be accomplished with these optional variables, whether we are talking of making a stable environment, stable strategy where I do consolidate all of my resources, maybe thinking of a different league in future altogether. I can think of expansion and growth. I can think of retrenchment and disinvestments, whatever we talk of, right? And I can also take any such kind of strategy, which is a combination of this. Basically, you need to understand three things over here, right? I'm taking a crucial decision whether I will continue as if I'm doing that in the past, right? So no growth options, no such major modifications. I'll go as on, right? Second thing, I will expand my business, right? May it be at domestic level, may it be at international level. Third is, I can retrench my business. I can cut my business. Right. So with these kind of things, particularly whenever we to talk of the basic, reasons for choosing a particular level of strategy, whether this economic and non-economic strategies we do talk of, like these are some of the points: exploiting this operational economies, financial economies, right, to reduce the cost, have some profit itself. Uncertainty is there because of the culture of the place or the culture of the organization itself, where this organization belongs to. So there may be cultural uncertainties, how to avoid this kind of uncertainty, basic position of these management skills, what sort of what is the level of the knowledge workers in the organization, or this inefficiency in the markets or the factors itself, long-term profit. These are the reasons, non-economic reasons. You do see that there may be a dominant view of this top management itself, right? Most of the time, because of a decision taken by the top level management, you don't have an option than to choose a particular level of corporate strategy, right? Employees' incentives to diversify themselves, desire for more power, managerial control, ethical considerations, corporate social responsibility. These are some of the reasons for which we choose a particular level of corporate strategies itself, right? But here we need to understand one thing, that whenever we do talk of this corporate level of strategies, we come out with four. Let's conclude that four different level of strategies, right? One is a stable strategy where we do not make much changes, or you can say that no changes in the existing set of operations, the current activities of the organization itself. So we proceed as if we used to do that, right? Growth strategy. This is a strategy taken by the organizations for the expansion and rapid growth for the organizations itself. You're talking of retrenchment when the organization is doesn't have much uh, profit over there itself, right? So there, these organizations need to wind up, widen up, all of those things, right? So what is required is to understand the basic aspects of this different level of strategies, or at times what you need to do is to combine any of these kind of strategies, right? So let us say, whenever you talk of these stabilities, right? When there is no growth, no strategy, growth, we say market is steady, economic turmoil may be there, right? So there the organizations go for a stability kind of strategy. But whenever we talk of these growth strategies, it has to go for a rapid growth, because the resource availability is there. Plenty of resource availability is there, and maybe the organization's performance in the past was quite good, right? So they go for kind of diversification. If I do talk of this diversification itself, so there may be there may be a focus on internal and external, like developments. You're talking of diversifications in terms of vertical or in terms of horizontal. So if I do focus on my processes, I do go for a vertical diversification. If I do focus on expansion of my business to a completely different thing, so I need to think of horizontal expansion. That is what I need to take into consideration, right? So here, say for example, we are talking of Reliance Industries Limited. We to talk of one of the best thing that we can understand is, like, from a textile value chain, now to power generations, telecommunications, we do talk of IT, we do talk of insurances, right? So it has gone for a rapid expansion into different industrial segment also, right? Combination strategies is what that they go for. Like they go for growth, stability, retrenchment, all of those things, right? Maybe whenever we do talk of say Tata, starting from Tisco to all those non-core business, they have expanded and adopting these combination strategies. So let us focus on these three different sort of strategies, right? We'll talk of stability, growth, retrenchment strategies in detail itself. So whenever I do talk of this stability strategy itself, right, as if we have understood, right? This stability strategy is to continue with the same market, same product. So there is no such much change is there in the organization's overall strategy, right? So same objective with the same thrust. Some of the improvements are required in the functional areas, so that improvements can be taken as a fragmented basis, as a piecemeal basis, or as a incremental basis itself. This is a strategy, what we call it as a non-growth strategy. So this focuses on its own resources, you know, on a very narrow product market. That's what we need to understand, right? And whenever we do talk of these conditions itself, we say that this economic turmoil is there and environment is highly volatile, right? So unpredictable things may be there in future. So it's better to keep in the same pace as we used to, right? That is where the importance of stability strategy comes in, right? So stability is, much of changes are not there in the environment. Like if we were to talk of this environmental factors, may it be the political scenario, may it be the economical scenario, may it be the legal scenario of a particular organization or a particular nation itself. So unless and until there is much changes in those kind of things, it's better to go for a stability strategy, right? We say sometimes organizations need to consolidate their strains after a very prolonged period of growth journey, right? Because if you do understand the basic process of change, during the phase of growth, you witness much kind of uncertainties. But what is required is to make those uncertainties being stable. You need to establish a culture of the organization, right? So that is what where you are talking of this stability strategy itself, right? And sometimes organizations they don't have a rapid want or desire of growth, high desire of growth. It's okay. Let them have this stability strategy itself, right? But sometimes organizations, unless and until they go for that maturity level where the focus should be on the qualitative aspects, right? You go for stability strategy, right? So here, whenever we do talk of this stability strategy itself, we do come out with four different ways by which we can accomplish this stability strategy itself. Now, first thing is that we do say it's a holding strategy, where we do say that nothing to do, hold the environment, right? So what is required is to raise, to digest, consolidate, right? So you have just overcome a phase of uncertainty. So let us stabilize all of our resources, right? So when I come to the end of my journey through a hostile environment, uncertain environment, let me focus on that. So holding strategy is to keep everything on hold, on rest, so that we can regain our energy, right? Stable growth strategy says this is a growth strategy which you know avoids change, right? Now, uh, this is little bit better than the previous one. So organizations they don't go for a rapid kind of change in terms of their product line or in terms of their service line itself, right? But organizations, you know, bring incremental changes, very slow, piecemeal basis kind of changes, right? So even if they would like to go for a new product segment or a new market segment, then they do that with careful consideration of the things, with all careful consideration. That is what is required, right? We to talk of this harvesting strategies. Harvesting strategy is a strategy where the organization actually generates profit, generates cash for their future expansion itself, right? So the thrust area is, generating profit through cost cutting could be a method, right? Or maybe we do talk of increasing the price of the products and services, right? But this can be possible only if you are a market leader in terms of quality, right? And the basic objective of this harvesting strategy is to go for extra profit. Whatever you do for extra profit without bringing in much changes in their product or service line. That's harvesting strategy, right? And we do talk of this profit or end game strategies itself, where sometimes you do come out with your products being classified as obsolete in the market, where you don't have a demand for your product, right? And you do have a huge investment on a particular technology. So what is required is that converting that particular technology to replace the existing product to a new product itself. Say for example, if I'm into the business of say motorcycle, a particular model has been obsolete, you cannot do that. But what you can do is that you take a strategy to deal with the after sale market. What do you call it as the service part of it? So you, with the same technology, you can think of creating a market of spare parts. That is what is required. So all of these are different sort of things in the stability level of strategies that we do come out with, right? Now, coming to the second level of strategy, that is expansion strategies itself. Expansion strategies, if I do talk of, right? These expansion strategies actually uh, allow these organizations to enhance their competitive advantage, right? By expanding into new market niches. This is what that comes in because of the question on survival, right? When organizations, cannot generate profit because of any such factor, may it be the factors that we have already discussed, right? Then organizations are left out with no such no choice than to expand, right? So they can have that expansion being done at the national or international level itself, right? But one thing that you need to understand is that these expansion strategies are the only level of strategy through which organizations can reach to their long-term objectives, long-term goals. So we can say that these expansion strategies gives us a blueprint. These expansion strategies give us the roadmap, right? What to do, what not to do. All of those things can be answered through this expansion strategy itself, right? So here we need to think of accelerating our growth period with an accelerated sale, maybe accelerated profit, capturing new market segments, acquiring new sources, new technologies kind of thing. If I don't have, then I need to develop that. If I don't have, then I need to tie up with other organizations. What do you call it? As strategic alliances. I need to make alliances with other organizations to get it, to get those kind of facilities that is required for me, right? So all over the thing with the kind of challenge that I do have, I need to think of managing people over there also. So the managerial capabilities is what that will help me out, right? So, like whenever we to talk of this expansion as one of the strategies of the organizations, right? So there we say some of the conditions which makes these organizations to adopt their expansion strategy is to be taken into consideration. Like we do talk of this organizations desire to be number one, like fast, rapid, continuous growth that the organizations would like to accomplish on a longer term, right? So that is what that makes this organizations to go for expansion itself, right? Organizations would like to cope with new opportunities in the new environment itself, right? So there are plenty of you know we do say that with the growth of technology, with the growth of science advancements in the ICT kind of thing, so there are many such new opportunities which are emerging day by day. Many opportunities have lost their relevance in the past, but many new opportunities are coming out with them. So can I cope up with those kind of new opportunities? Can I make a change? All of those things are to be taken into consideration for that, right? So that is what we say that organizations at times takes this expansion as something which is irresistible, right? We have to do that. Let's expand. That's all, right? Uh, Sometimes in the market, like when the organizations are in its maturity phase as one of the market leaders, right? To continue with their position as a market leader, they do go for this expansion strategies itself. Right? Wherever there is a volatile market itself, right? Volatile situation, there also organizations need to survive because you don't know like what kind of product or what kind of things that you are going to have, or what is going to happen with your kind of product and service, right? We say that the present age is what that defines today's golden ones or tomorrow's earthen ones, right? So anything, any such particular object or service or product, whatever I do have, which is being sold at a golden price, may not be sold at an earthen price tomorrow, may lose its relevance, right? So that is what I need to think of this expansion strategies itself. But I need to understand one thing over here is whenever I do think of these growth strategies in the organization, please make a note. I do think of these growth strategies of the organization. I do have four options with me. First is expansion, right? Or what I call it as intensive expansion through intensification, or very intensive expansion. We need to go for that. Second one that I do have is integration of the organizations, right? So there you need to think of internal integration or external integration. Maybe in a true sense, you can think of that horizontal integration is there, vertical integration is there, right? We'll discuss all of those things in phase by phase, right? All these three units in module 2 deal with all of these phases, right? And then we do think of diversification as another one expansion strategy, where you are going beyond your existing markets to a different market. You are going beyond you know the existing product range to a completely different product range altogether, right? So with these kind of things, we are going for fourth phase of growth, that is internationalization process, right? So we do say intensive expansion first, second is integration, third is diversification, fourth is internationalization, right? So these are the four such different sort of strategies that the organizations do adopt as a growth strategy, right? Now, if I to talk of this expansion through intensification or highly intensive expansion ratio itself, right? Now, why do I think of this intensive expansion strategy, right? First of all, I need to understand that this intensive expansion strategy is a process where I safeguard the present position. I am not making, you know, a turbulent, or I don't cause disturbances in the existing set of things, right? But at the same time, I need to think of expanding myself in the current market, right? So I do go for an analysis of all those alternatives, whatever is there, and you know, any such alternative with highest NPV, that should be my first choice, because I'm going for intense expansion, right? I need to make a thorough analysis of my competitors' behavior. Competitors will respond to my course of action, right? But when, how? I need to make an analysis of that, and I need to have a backup plan for that. That is what you need to say, right? I need to have a thorough analysis of my strengths, weaknesses. What do you call it? A SWOT analysis of mine and my competitors. Let me see where is an opportunity to have that competitive advantage. That is what we need to understand, right? Then we do talk of the kind of environment I do operate in. So environmental factors should be carefully examined, should be carefully taken into consideration itself. I do need to have my resources, may it be financial, may it be technological, may it be managerial, should be ready for that. Right? And the technological, social, demographic trends should also be carefully monitored, because all of these things are going to affect my expansion strategies, right? However, the way I can accomplish this expansion strategy is better described through a model. This is Igor Ansov's model, right, developed in 1968 itself. Like, all of those things are based on, you know two dimensions. One is the markets, and the other one is the products, right? So I do have four options with me. What I'm going to do with current product, with current market, first option. What I'm going to do with the current product with a new market, right? What I'm going to do with the new product, if I'm going to develop that, right? So new product in the current market, what sort of thing I'm going to do with, like, a new product in a completely new set of environment. Okay? So based on that itself, we do come out with four different strategies. One is a market penetration strategy, market development strategy, product development strategy, and diversification strategy itself, right? Now, if I do talk of this market penetration strategy, here you need to understand one thing, that market penetration strategy says you are dealing with your current products with the existing market, not much of changes, right? But my basic objective is to have that growth. So whatever I was doing, if I'll continue to do the same thing, will it be able to bring me the objectives of the organization? Maybe, may not. So here I need to think of bringing a completely different sort of strategies, like to make the processes much easier. Like, what we can do, I need to come out with some sort of strategies for my existing customers, number one. I need to think of some sort of strategies to pull my competitors customers, or I need to make some sort of strategies to attract new customer range, new customer base. That is what we need to talk about, right? So how can we do that? So the options that you do have is to go for offering them high discounts, right? High, kind of economic benefits, monetary benefits. Right? Second thing is that you focus on your quality. Third thing that you can do is that you can continuously, promote your product. So advertisement kind of thing. So that is what that will strike to the customer's mind itself. So you don't have much of options available with you. So only thing that you can do is to go for attracting new customer base or attracting the competitors' customer base, market penetration. So you need to enter a rapid way to that particular thing, right? But whenever we to talk of this market development itself, existing product or current product at a new market, right? So if I do talk of this current product at a new market itself, I do always have a risk factor. That's what we need to understand. Now, this is definitely a better opportunity than the previous one. Market penetration, like market development, is better than market penetration, right? But amount of risk involved is huge, because you're completely unaware of the behavior of the new market, right? May it be the environmental factors, whatever we do talk about, like those political, economical, social factors of the new market itself, right? Then we do talk of this third category, that is product development. What are you doing? You're doing the dealing with the new products for the existing market itself, right? So you keep on adding features to your existing product, you keep on bringing improvements to your existing product, right? So that every time you to come out with the customer's choices and preferences. And that's what you need to understand. So keep on adding features, develop the products on a continuous basis to gain that in the existing market itself, right? We are talking of diversification as another one strategy, right? This is a completely new set of strategies where we are talking of we are entering into a new market with a completely new set of product, right? So diversification is what that we need to understand over here, right? So here, with these kind of things, we need to come out with a basic expansion strategy. Now, expansion through integration is what that we need. Expansion, integration, right? And then we do talk of diversification, internationalization. These are the four things, right? Today we are going to think of these two only, where we are talking of expansion through, uh, you know, integration, expansion, that intensive expansion. All of those things we are going to think of. So here, in you know whenever we talk of this intensive expansions itself, intensive expansions focuses on developing our own resources, right? But whenever I do talk of this expansion through integration, so here I to come out with a basic objective of combining myself with other organizations to achieve the goals. Maybe the best thing, a very common thing, we'll talk of mergers and acquisitions. That's a integration strategy itself. And whenever, like we discussed it in the previous time also, like integrations can be internal, can be external also. That we are going to discuss, right? What we do is that we tie up with other firms, we combine with other firms, right? To achieve the said objectives itself, right? So we say it's increasing the market share of the organization, So that is the best way to enter into a new market segment. You join hands together, right? Avoiding cost of developing this new product itself. Sometimes you do lack in terms of certain particular resources, may it be technological resources, may it be the kind of production capabilities, may it be the human resource capabilities, may it be any other capabilities you to think of, right? Now, if you lack in terms of that, and it's not possible on your part to develop that internally, so it's better to go for a joining hands together with some other person, right? Some other organization. Ready? So we say that is what. And we do talk of like having that integration with a particular organization, because those organizations are already established. So what is required is tie up with a established organization, and you don't have that risk factor, right? And you're reducing the risk of entering into this new business itself. You're becoming more diversified. You're reducing the intensity of the competition itself, right? So all of those things will be the benefits, basic benefits of this integration, right? And that is where we come out with the two different aspects of this integration. What it says, it's vertical integration and the horizontal integration, right? So vertical integration says you integrate with some of the organizations which are there in your own supply chain, right? So, like own supply chain means starting from whenever we to talk of the entire process, raw material to delivery to the customers, right? All of those things, they can be dealt by different sort of organizations. So there where you come out with a requirement of integration, right? So what it says, there can be backward integration, there can be forward integration. Backward integration says you have a control over your inputs, right? Forward integration says you shouldn't have a control over your outputs, right? So when I do talk of backward integration, let me make an analysis starting from the starting of my supply chain to end of my supply chain. Where do I come out with a problem? And I need to take that into consideration, right? And if I do talk of control over the outputs itself, forward integration itself, right? So I need to think of the end result only, not my inner processes. Right? Most of the organizations, when they go for an expansion, they go for an integration, they do think of this both forward and backward integration together, right? So like the basic benefits that we do have is that you're talking of the transportation cost can be reduced, because of a closer proximity, right? Geographical proximity, we can think of that. You will have a better coordination in terms of your supply chain itself. You will have better profit margins. You may not face that stiff competitions or entry barriers, you can say, the potential competitors. All of those things, they can be there, right? So downstream distribution channels will always be accessible to you. Investments are highly specialized. All of those things can be there as a vertical integration itself. Vertical integration, you do see, these are the things, are the advantages of vertical integration. And sometimes you do also need to take into consideration the various factors which may not yield the desired result itself, right? Now, coming to the other form of integration itself, I do come out with this horizontal integration, or this horizontal combination, horizontal integration itself. Now, whenever I do talk of this horizontal integration, I do say that this is an additional business in the same line of business, the same level of value chain itself, right? So, going through that internal or external kind of thing, right? Like we can think of that, say, for example, Aditya Birla Group has acquired L&T Cement. So this is one of the best examples of that horizontal integration, whatever you talk of, right? So let us understand this horizontal integration is a process where you to talk of economic scale can be achieved, like more profit can be there. There is like more scope for gaining those kind of resources, increasing bargaining power over the suppliers, reduction of cost, synergies to be achieved itself. So all of those things are the benefits of the horizontal combination, right? So let us conclude. Like these are international expansions that we are talking of, but we will see these international expansions in detail in the third block itself. So let us end up over here. And once again, thank you very much for having your patience for this particular session. And once again, we'll meet tomorrow at the same time to continue with the fourth unit of module 2. Thank you very much. Thank you.